All right, so good evening once again. You are welcome. Um, so let me quickly look at the front end just to see the current appearance of the form that we started styling. Okay, so I hope you are still here. Are you still here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So like I was saying, this is the front end of the form. So remember we started making the form to look user-friendly. So I stop at the limit. So let me just, what we are going to do in this session is to conclude the styling of the form. And then we'll know that our next meeting, next week, Thursday, we'll start the main website design. Now we are about talking to the inputs. Let me go back to the HTML structure. So what we want to style now are all these inputs. All this. These are the elements we want to style. We want to improve their appearance. Now, I was trying to explain something yesterday that if I call just inputs without using the type to reference it, that will give the same appearance to all the input elements or to all the content that were created with the input. So what we normally do professionally is to address or to select the input by its type attributes. Like this input now, if I want to select it, I will say input equals to radio so that the CSS will know the input is to style. So that is going to introduce what we call, so like I was saying, if I say input, if I say just input, I wanted us to see what will happen if we just call input. So if I say just input and I say width, and I say width, let's say width 20 ps. If I go back to the front end, you will see that what all the inputs were affected at once. But meanwhile, I wanted to speak to a particular set of inputs, not all of them. So that is why it is not advised we use the input to call them. Instead, we are going to use a system that can personalize it to certain type of input. So let's say styling the input tags using the type attributes to select them. So we are going to, instead of us just saying input, we are going to use a type. So let's say I want to talk to the input with the type equals to text. So the syntax will be, you say input, then you open this selection bracket like this, which means that you want to focus, you want to select a particular input. Now, you will now say type equals to text. So which means before you open your CSS calling bracket. So what this means is that if I go back to my HTML like this, it is only this type of input that will be affected. The one we type text, it will affect this. And then it will also affect this because the type is what? Text. It will affect this, but it will not affect this. Do you understand the logic? So which means that when you say type equals to text, you are indirectly talking to only this, and this. So if I go back to my CSS now, and I say width, and I say width 100%, or let's say 90%. So if I go back to the front end, you can see that what it affected only these three with the input type equals to text 1, 2, 3. The rest, they are not affected. Now, but there is a way you can use what we call the CSS combinator, which is a concept that I must have mentioned before now. So which means that before I declare the coiling bracket, I will show you, we just put a comma, go down. I will say this is just like you are using one stone to kill many birds at once. So, but you are still selecting the type of attributes, the type of input you want to talk to. So I can say, okay, you can actually, if you want, you can put this in a quote. It doesn't matter. If you like, you can put it in a quote like this as you are selecting. So I can say another one, dates. So what I'm trying to achieve here is that I want to give the same property, the same appearance to this set of inputs that I am selecting. I don't want to start calling them one after the other. I want to talk to them at once because I want them to have similar appearance. So that is why I'm calling them one after the other. So I can say input, select, type equals to the same thing. And then I will say password, but we don't have password. I don't know if we have password. We have email. So let me say email.
Yes.
Do we have password in that
We
form?
have password also.
Okay, so if we have password, we can use
Yeah.
input, select, where type attribute is equals to password, and then comma, then we have a number, right, where we specify the age. I think we have number, so we'll just say where input type is equals to number, where input type is equals to number. Then I also want to include select, where we have select, that is the one that created a drop down for them to pick their country. So I will say now after this, before you now open your CSS bracket, so which means that any property you declare in this automatically we format all of this. So if I say padding, let's say I assign 10% padding. So if I come to the front end, you can see that what it affected all of them. You can see that the bosses, they are now, the height has increased, okay? And it affected, you can see that it affected all those selectors, all those input type, date, and the rest of them. So I can come back here and say, okay, just to make it look more user-friendly, I want to add some border. Remember how we declare border property? We'll start by specifying the thickness of the border, followed by the type of line of the border, and then followed by the color. So I'm still using hexadecimal method in order to balance it with other set of colors I've used before. So if I come here, you can see that what? The color of the inputs are no longer what? They are equal to the one we use for the view set. So we are trying to look at some uniformism. That is what we are trying to achieve. So now the next thing is we want to apply border radius to this input because we also gave border radius to the view set. So border radius of equivalent to the size of the one we use. Let's say the other we use 8. Now this one I could just use what? 6PS. Don't forget what I told us yesterday night, that all these parameters are not fixed. The value we are giving to them can be changed depending on how you want your own to appear. So you can see we have all the edges curved, which is making the form look more professional a little. Now we are still enhancing it. Font size, the write-up that will be coming inside this input, the size of it, let's make them for 14PS. What it means is that whatever, like this text now, whatever that comes into or inside the text boxes, a write-up, we take what? 14 what? PS size. That is what you have just defined. Now, I want a situation whereby whatever they will type inside should display with red color, because if you are typing now, the appearance of the text, the color is black. So I want in a situation whereby when I am typing, it should display what? Red. It should display red. So how do I achieve that? I will not quickly say what? Color. Color, I will say red. So depending if it's go with, consider whatever you type inside the box will now be what? Red. Now, even the box itself, adibin you are not okay with the white background, you can as well what? Define another color by saying background color, I can say what? Black. So if I go back now, you see that what? I've changed all these selected input background color to what? To black, so that when they are writing inside, you see the calculation. So for any reason you are changing the background color of the input, always make sure that what? It allow the right top to be visible. Okay, are you following? Okay, so in this case
Yeah,
now,
I'm getting it.
in this case, I don't want the background. I just wanted you to know that you can repaint the background of it. Now, I want to add width to this. So let's say I add width of 100%. So I want them to display 100%. So if I go back to the front end, you see that what? They are not touching the line. That is that you have just ordered them to occupy the whole space horizontally. That is the meaning. But that is not giving us a looking room. That is not really presenting it properly. So what I will do is to reduce it from 90% to something like maybe that 90%. There should be or 95%. I can say 95%. Okay, so this is reasonable, I think, to an extent. So I want them to have some space to look through. Are you following? So the next one, I want to add transition effect. Let's say transition border. I'll tell you what this one does. Transition border. Then I'll say 0.3 second. Transition unit is always measured in second. So if I come here, you see what happened? You see the way anyone you are in will show this focus, this border. You see it? That is how you know that, oh, you are in. It will make it look different from others. Now, if we want to see the impact of this, let me say, for example, let me go ahead and type this first. Boss shadow. Here we want to add a kind of shadow in order to make the input to stand out. So the shadow, I can say 0.3 second, and then it should come out what is. So this is what we are saying. So just a kind of transition. Let me see what happened. Okay. Okay. All right. So there's no reasonable impact, but let's see how it goes. So now I want to give the input certain focus. So what I will do, I'll use comment here. I'll say input focus. So if I hover on an input, how do I know that I am on that input? I want to give it some focus. I want to give it some focus. So I will say input that should apply to all the input, just like the way we add hover. So I will say column, I will say what? Focus. Just like the way we add over, then I will do this. Then when somebody focus on an input, the borderline should change to let me say border color should be hexadecimal. Let's say 007 BFF. The color. Now let's go there and check if you focus on let's see. I just want to see if it has started applying. Most of these are optional actually, but let's just finish it so that we can understand how it works. So box shadow for the focus, give 5 ps. So let me see how it works. Okay, so you can see it now. If you focus on this one, you are seeing that shadow that is coming out. If I focus on this, you are seeing that shadow that is coming out. So that's it, just to make it, to give it some focus so that somebody will know that is different from others. Now, I want to specify color. I'll just say ROGBA, open this as usual. I'll define comma 123, comma, that's value for different color. Then I will add some opacity by saying 0. Let's say 3. And then I will end it here. So this is actually part of this, it's part of this. We can call it like this, Control X. It's part of the space. It's supposed to be part of this. It's together with this. So if we go back and check now, we should be able to see, you can see that the opacity has reduced it. But let's check if everything is all right. So this is the shadow calculation. This is the color. So you can see that the color is almost the same. Now, outline. Don't forget, the idea is to let you know that we have all these CSS property. So outline, I want to disable it. I will say what? None. So if I come back here, you can see that after I remove that outline, you are seeing all the effects we have added. You can see it now. But that outline was the reason why that outline was overshadowing the focus effect. So you can see it as soon as you turn off the outline. So if I go back now, and like I advised you yesterday, if you want to know the impact particular property is making, turn it off, then go back and check. You can see this is what was overshadowing those outline that we are not seeing, because by default it's bringing the outline. So once I turn off this outline now, it will bring it out. So I'll go back and turn it on. Then by the time I come back, you see that what I'm seeing, those things that I have been coding that seems as if they were not reacting. Are you following? Hope you are getting it. All right.
I'm getting.
So the next thing I want to do is I want to talk to the file input. There is an input that we did not talk to that is not affected. This one. File input, no. There is a file input. Good. This one. We have not spoken to this one. You know, when I was selecting date, text, number, let me take us back to the HTML structure so that we can see it. we did not include this particular input. Where is it? One that says file. We did not say type equals to what? File. So I want to speak to it separately. So I will just say styling input file. So what I'm going to do, I will just say, I will call it just like the way I call others, then specify type to be equals to what? File as well. So that is the only one we are speaking to. So I will just open my CSS declaration block. Then I will say padding. I just want to add 5 PS padding. So if I come here and I do this, you see that what? We have spaced it a little. So it's no longer touching the photo. Now, the radio buttons are all this. So we want to speak to them. So how do we style there? It's a styling the radio. And we are using ones to and the check boxes. Remember how we created all this and the check boxes at once. Now, what we are going to do, we say input select type equals to radio command. I'll go down. I'll say what? Input select type equals to checkbox. Then I'll declare my CSS block. Then what I need is just margin right. I just want some space from the outside, 8 PS. I can go and check and see the impact. Okay, so now I want to see if, okay, so yeah. Now the buttons, let's quickly talk to the button styling. The button, I will just say dot button because I know we gave it a class name button. So I will say display plus. Remember, I want to display it block. So if I go to the front end, you can see that what we have displayed it flash. But let me check whether it was class element. Okay, so sorry, you can see that didn't work. Our one is what buttons. There is S. But the one I'm declaring here, just say what? Button. So I have to add S. Then if I come back to the front end, I will say an adjustment. So now I will say gap. I want some space. For example, if you look at this button, I want to look at it. They are touching each other. These two buttons, they are touching each other. So I want some space. I want this one to go down. So I will just say what? Gap. So I just want a gap of 10 PS, for example. That's the last thing we are styling. So you can see you have some space there. So if that space is not enough, you can increase it. But let me go with it like that. Then flex wrap. We have what we call flex wrap is another, I'll say what? Wrap and check. Okay. So that's so the button input. Do we have button input? Let me check. It's based on the structure. Yes, we have input in the button. You know what we are talking to is the container that is holding these two items. Now you want to use a parent element to access this. So that is what I want to talk to now. So I'll just say button input. Of course, this is the last aspect. So I will say dot, I'm using the parent element, dot buttons, space, sorry, button, space, input. So it will know exactly the input you are talking to. So what we are simply saying is that, we have other input. We have input here, but the one you are talking to is the input inside this class element. That is what you are saying, so that other are not affected. So I could just say flex, I'll just give it one value, always check so that you see if there's any differences. For now, padding, we want to add some internal space, let's say 12 ps. If I come back here, you can see it now. There's now reasonable space between the content and the box. So the next one is border. So let's say what? I don't want to see the border. I will say none. If I come here, the border has gone. So just to make it look neater. Are you following? So I have removed the border. So the next one, I'm still trying to enhance it. Font weight. I can just say what? Bold. So that I can see the write-up. They are now bolder. The next one depends on how. Now, if you look at the button carefully, you will see that if you click, it's not showing the hand symbol. Look at it. If I hover on any of these buttons, they are not showing the hand symbol, which shows that they are acting as if they are not clickable what buttons. So to make them clickable, I will say cursor, then I will say what? Pointer. So if I go back again and I select it, you see that you are now seeing the what? The hand symbol. So the users know that, oh, if I click here, an action will be triggered. That is the simple communication. Then font size, I want to increase the size of those button description a little to 15 ps. Yours can be 16 or 18. So at least, now I want only the first letter to be capital letter, so I can say text transform, I'll say what? Uppercase or capitalize, which means that what? The first letter of each word will be capital letter, while the rest will be small letter. Okay, so now, if you want to talk to each of them individually, if you want to talk to each of them, maybe you want to add some hover effect, you can do that. You will just call it again, put color here, put hover. What do I mean by that? So if I want to add hover effect to this, let me just do that because it's very important. So adding hover effect. So what I'm going to simply do is I will reference the button, I will space input, and then I'll put column, I will say what? Hover. As usual, we have been using this syntax. Okay, so I can say opacity. If they hover on it, the opacity should change. Opacity is like transparency. So if I go back now, let's check it. Can you see that you are seeing the kind of, once they hover, you are seeing the reduction of the color. But if I want the color to change totally on hovering, I can say, okay, when they hover, change to red. If I come back here, you can see it now. They hover, they see it as red. Then when they are not on it, it goes back to what? Black. Are you following? Okay, so the choice is yours, but this will not
Yeah.
combine. This will not actually give me a good combination. So, I think that is all we have for this form. Any question? So you can create.
Yeah,
You have question?
I have a question, please.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, this one I think I understood everything there,
okay.
but I think I'll have time to maybe I'm going to upload the video so that I can see it again and try to do it on my own. But my question is, as we are now about to create a really website. Yeah, but I'd like to know what if I want to create a website where I will be selling, let me say it's a store.
Okay.
I will be selling some books or something that can be downloadable. A person must pay first and download after payment. Is there any way I can do that?
Yes, of course, of course. What you are going to do is that you are going to activate payment gateway. You are going to create subscribe button. So once they click on it, it will ask them to pay. And once the payment is completed or confirmed by you, it will redirect them to the page where you have the content to be downloaded. That is how it's been done. It's a project you can take, and then with little research, because research is part of this program. If you are going to complex websites, you will have to at some point add some little research to know how to do one thing, because there are different types of website. One single developer cannot build all the type of websites. You cannot build church website, at the same time build e-commerce, build real estate. So, but if you are trained as a developer, let's say you know how to build e-commerce, you should be able to know how to add little research to build what? Real estate when you have such projects. Then when you have another project that you don't know, which you have not designed before, you add little research. With research, you can actually try as much as possible to build different types of websites. So anything that has to do with
Okay, okay, got it.
technology, anything that has to do with tech, after the training, the person must have taken you to where you can make research. When you see a code while researching, you know how to plug it into your project, and you know how to work around it. So that is how we do it. All right, but definitely we are going to build live websites. So I'm going to be giving you projects. In fact, before we issue you our certificate, you are going to do a presentation of a website you start by yourself from the scratch till the last aspect of it, to the working website. So once you have done that, before we can give you certificates, we don't write exam here. It's practical. So as I'm training you, make sure that you are practicing and you are giving yourself different projects. When you finish one, let's say you finish e-commerce, you enter school. When you finish school, you enter another one, school website. Just be picking different projects. The more these projects stress you, the more you will discover things. Okay, so it's very important. Like as I'm training you now, an average of 2 hours. I may not be able to combine all the research, but when you are handling a real project, you can spend 2 weeks, you are trying to put a project together. So that is what programming involves. It requires serious researching after learning for you to go professional. Is that all? All right, so
Thank you, thank
when you
you.
get the video,
So,
try and
another question, please.
okay, okay, okay.
Another question. Now we have this contact form is very important. But I'd like to know what about that form of login? Can it be the same as this
No,
one we
no,
have
no,
created
no.
now?
Login form is a different form. It's registration.
Okay.
We are going to do that
Okay.
when we get to PHP, because you cannot complete login form with just HTML and CSS. Okay, so we are still going to design
Okay.
different form. Now, what I did with this one is to give you an idea of how to develop form. But when we start the application, designing the real website next week, you will see that we are going to go more complex than this. But then I will not be explaining some of these things that I've explained, only the new ones that I'm bringing that I will explain. So just make sure that this one is just to give you a foundation. That does not mean that this is the only form we are going. In fact, we're going to design so many form. We are going to design login system. All this
Okay, thank you.
is not just HTML and CSS. So back end, we have a lot of work to do at the back end. Form verification, validation. There are a lot of work to be done at the back end. Even when somebody fill a form, you should receive an email. All those things, they are part of what you can only accomplish with the back end languages, not just the front end is just to give the user interface. So the communication is mostly done with the back end languages. So, but this is how
I
you
got
do
it.
web development. I'm following the procedure. You start from basic, you grow, and that is how you get there. You can't jump. It's a process. All right. Is that all? Do you have any other question?
No, no, no. I
Okay,
understood
so
everything.
okay, so once you get the video, try and update it. Like I told you, everything we are learning since we have not started building website. What we are doing is that we are just learning tools that we are going to use to build the real website. So by Thursday, I will be starting the website design properly. Then if I'm using H1, you will not be asking me what is H1. If I'm using P tag, you will not be asking me what is P tag. If I'm using image tag, if I'm using anchor tag, you will not be asking me. That's the reason why I spend this time to familiarize you with those tags first. So the speed of our design will be faster because we have already know some of those building blocks that we'll be using. Is that clear? So that is the pattern we follow here.
Good.
Okay. All right, so go and prepare yourself. So make sure you do revision again, reverse all the tags again, anchor tag, all of them before that Thursday, because we will just be using them. We may not explain in details as far those ones that I've explained, but there are some tags that I've not used. I am going to explain them while applying them. There are so many tags that I skip. Those ones that are classified under advanced tags. So everything we have done now, they are like basic, which you need to know first. All right, so I hope to see a beautiful, more beautiful form than mine, because you have from now till Thursday to play around your form. If you can create 3 different form, 3 different set of colors, fine, so that you can understand it very well. All right, take
Okay.
good night. See you on Thursday. There's a group that I
Thank
added.
you. God
Did
bless
you
you.
notice that? There is a group that I added you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I see.
so there are other classes that I have outside the days I have been training you. So, but they are in the same place with you. So that is why the main design, all of us will be joining together. So on Thursday, you see them also. They have done all this also. So that you guys are in the same place. Nobody's ahead of each other. All right.
Okay.
So see you then. Bye for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.